All good? Okay. Like from yesterday, do you think we need the microphone? No? Yes? Prefer? Okay. Could you get louder, please? Louder, no. Okay. Well, I want to introduce myself, one of the part of my life. Now I'm working in BBVA Bank. I'm head of Open Platform. Open Platform is the department trying to open APIs to the world to create a different ecosystem so other enterprise could develop new applications with digital tips from BBVA like payments, data, all kinds of things. I also the co-organizer of the API Hour.com. It's a community about APIs in Madrid. We created this community 2 years ago, trying to learn something about APIs from different enterprises in Madrid and Spain, learning from their use cases, and also trying to be a community to share the information between the people interested in APIs. It's not only a technical event, it's also we talk about business model around APIs, business model around open business, legal uses, marketing, and I also a co-founder of a startup, Smart Lighting. We created 2 years ago a prototype and a product called Elate. It's a display device with different sensors. We try to be an Internet of Things object, but we are in the web. Okay, let's start. I expect that you know that the world has changed. We have so many different things in the past few years. I should you know Google Glass. Yes, of course. But more boring slide. Now the world is very different from the last 10 years. Now we are growing very, very fast in the past 5 years. There is more complex system. We are networking, globalized, revenue focused. It's very important, and also agile. How many of you know about the agile methodologies? Only Scrum. Okay. Well, and how many of you know about open business? About it? Okay. We are now changing from a classical model in the last centuries. It's about closed business model, where the people work and don't share anything with other partner or other competitor, to the open business model or open model, where we work with open source, transparent, different copyright for code and for information. And we are now in a world where we try to share everything from data to information and to knowledge. That is the most important. And also different systems like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, what you know, with hundreds of millions or even thousands of millions of users. But when I read, I don't know if you could read this part. Could read this? Yes. When I read this news months ago, I think years ago, I started to think when I was in the university, like you now, with my friend, when after a party or before a party, we always were talking about how we could change the world. I think you think now all the focus are in systems like Facebook. It's very, very important and very interesting, or Instagram or social networking. But do you know who is Buzz Aldrin?
The people who give the money.
Yes. For me, this sentence makes me think a lot about what I were working at, what we were working in the last year. Is we were working in important thing or only in fun thing? In funny thing. Okay. Do you think that Internet of Things sense is so important like this sentence? If I have to be talking about an hour, it's going to be very, very boring. Okay. If you think about Internet of Things, you only can think about this about devices connected to Internet. But if you start to think about how the Industrial Revolution or in the last centuries, how the change started, it's very similar, and now we have different evolution or different progress that are making that now is the moment. The last 2 years and in the next 2 years is the moment where all is changing. And also, this sentence made me think a lot about the difference between have a mobile application. I started as a mobile developer. I love mobile application, interconnected system. But when I read this sentence, I had to think that maybe it's most important that I could ever think about how, I repeat, how important is the change in this moment. Well, Internet of Things, you say that you know of it, is all connected. Not only devices, is what we have connected now. Devices we have read information or write or share information with other person, or some kind of computer trying to interact with other computer. But this is about things connected to something bigger. Correct? And even if you don't know, if you don't want to be part of the change, it's going to be impossible in the next year that you could be outside of Internet of Things. Things like technology like drone, this iDrone. You can't go to the countries and say, oh, I don't want this kind of things, because it's going to be in all of our daily life. That's the definition of Internet of Things from Wikipedia. To look for is a uniquely identifiable object connected to a network, something like Internet. The definition starts with RFID, I think 15 years ago. But it's better that we could see a video.
Over the past century, but accelerating over the past couple of decades, we've seen the emergence of a kind of global data field. The planet itself, natural systems, human systems, physical objects have always generated an enormous amount of data, but we didn't used to be able to hear it, to see it, to capture it. Now we can, because all of this stuff is now instrumented. And it's all interconnected, so we can actually have access to it. So, in effect, the planet has grown. A central nervous system.
So there's about 1 billion people using the internet at the moment, and that's set to grow to probably 2 billion in the next couple of years. And we think that's quite a lot, but over the last 10 years I've been looking at devices being linked up together using networks, so little sensors on things, with temperature sensors and traffic sensors and flow rate of water and how much electricity or transmitting data. It won't be long, it may even have happened already, that there's more things on the internet than there are people on the internet. That's really what we mean by the Internet of Things. And you get this sea of data that you just drown in, literally. And there's this triangle that's been quite well documented, the DIKW triangle: data, information, knowledge, and at the top is wisdom. the D at the bottom is a sea of data, and when we get this data back home and start doing stuff with it, we apply intelligence to it and transform up that stack. So we go from data into information, information into knowledge, and then glean some wisdom from that. And that's really what the analytics part of our Smarter Planet story is all about. But the ideal day, I guess, would be that I wake up in the morning and my alarm clock went off at the right time because it took up to my diary to know when my first meeting was and it's backtracked which ferry I need to get and therefore what time I need to get up. The bathroom heater would have been on for half an hour before that time to make the bathroom nice and warm. I'd know that the temperature had been freezing overnight and therefore that my ice was going to need to be scraped off my car, so I need to leave the house 5 minutes earlier. And then I'd be getting a notification, perhaps an audio announcement in my car as I drive to the ferry saying, oh, the ferries are running 5 minutes late, so no need to rush, just take your time. All that stuff is being handled by autonomic systems of little agents looking out on my behalf of the things it knows I want to do, just making me aware of what's going on so that I can plan my day accordingly. So a system of systems is really what emerges when you start to link these things up. So the fact that you've got isolated systems, for example, my house on its own, with its energy monitoring and the water monitoring and the detecting if the windows and doors are open, that kind of stuff. It's a system, certainly, but it's not a system of systems. But if you start to think about the power grid, first of all, the appliances negotiate with each other. So they say, okay, guys, Andy wants all 3 of us to operate, but it's going to be bad for the grid if we all go on at the same time. So now suddenly we've got systems talking to each other, sort of acting smarter because they know about each other, which overall makes the entire system more efficient.
There are more human beings living in cities now, as of last year, than ever before in human history, and that doesn't look like a trend that's reversing. For every 4 text messages that a pedestrian sends while walking down the sidewalk she's on is sending an equivalent amount of data. There are sensors all over the place, certainly in the water main. They're registering blockages or not right beneath your feet. Taxis are, broadcasting their position and fare status back to dispatch. Trains and buses are updating their locations in real time, which people are reading on that street corner. A matrixing of services creates a more resilient thing, and we can let a water main blockage speak to the road signals above it and do something quickly before police can get there. Soon enough, we will just expect to be told exactly when the bus will arrive.
Look at that complex set of relationships among all these complex systems. If we can actually begin to see the patterns in the data, then we have a much better chance of actually getting our arms around this. That's where societies become more efficient. That's where more innovation is sparked. When we talk about a smarter planet, you could say that it has 2 dimensions. One is to be more efficient, be less destructive, connect different aspects of life which do affect each other in more conscious and deliberate and intelligent ways. But the other is also to generate fundamentally new insights, new activity, new forms of social relations. So you could look at the planet as an information creation and transmission system. And the universe was hearing its information, but we weren't. But increasingly now we can. Early days, baby steps days, we can actually begin to hear the planet talking to us.
Do you know we are far from this kind of world? Nothing? But 2 years, 5 years, 10 years maybe? 5 years? 10 years? 20 years? Yes? Okay. Well, you have time. I'm trying to share my presentation. I find this paper from a student from Palo Alto. That for me is one of the best paper about Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, wearable, in 15 paper, in 15 days. So if you have the opportunity in an hour, I recommend to you to try to read. Okay. After the video, now there are different people. If you have different people they will answer you with different, they will say you different answers about where we are now about Internet of Everything, of Internet of Things. For me, we are, by this part, have a lot of network industry connected, end-to-end system. I'm sure you know about it. We have a lot of consumer electronics connected, but it's more about devices, not things. And we start to go to this part. And now we are going to see how, in a few slides. But most important, Internet of Things, as we saw in the video, is very important. But it's not only objects and devices connected. It's about, as you could see, people, process, always data. It's one of the main parts of the system, data with process. As you could see, as I said, it's not about only things, sensor, and technology, communication, and kind of things. About how we get that the people who interact with things, with process between all these parts, trying to achieve knowledge. But a little video trying to explain a different view from Cisco.
What if the next big thing isn't a thing at all? It's lots of things, all waking up. What if the next big thing isn't a thing at all, becoming part of the global phenomenon we call the interall of everything? What if the next big thing isn't a thing at all?
That's it.
It's lots of things, all waking up. Becoming part of the global phenomenon we call the Internet of Everything. Trees will talk to networks, will talk to scientists about climate change. Cars will talk to road sensors, will talk to stoplights about traffic efficiency. The ambulance will talk to patient records, will talk to doctors about saving lives. It's going to be amazing and exciting, and maybe, most remarkably, not that far away. The next big thing, we're going to wake the world up and watch with eyes wide as it gets to work. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
The last video was from IBM, this was from Cisco. See? Cisco is one of the companies that is leading the change from Internet of Things to Internet of Everything. You could find a lot of information in internetoferything.com. It's Cisco, you have a lot of ads from Cisco, but there are great information with different industries and different business models and use cases. But some numbers and also in a video trying to explain the financial point of view of Internet of Everything. Something integration is also the economy. Well, as you see, we are going to be a lot of new devices connected. You will see we are now in this point with a lot of smartphones, the PC, we all know where PC are, tablets, and this is what is going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years. So maybe 10 years. This is the work like we saw in the video, but in 2 or 3 years, all the thing is going to change. And another video from finance point of view. Also from Cisco. These numbers are important, and please try to go to this market. Well, who knows about quantified cells?
I have a question.
Yes, of course.
There was information about many billions of devices connected in 2020. Are all of them going to be connected to internet, right?
No, in my opinion, I think not really.
Yeah, because the internet of everything, so that they're all connected together. But I think there should be always some private networks, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and what about use of addresses? Like it should be IP version 6 protocol.
For me, there is no other way to get this.
Yes, but still, that version was introduced many years ago.
Yes, but
still it's not.
The industry don't adopt it because they still don't see money enough to create the necessary investment to change all the router, all the switches to change from IP4 to IP6.
So how can you expect that in 2020 you have?
Well, I could explain it. 5 years ago, or 8 years ago, you could read in newspaper that the world is going to explode because we don't have more IP address. And the companies start to think about how they could create, not virtual, but how they could create different address for the same address for different computer.
And it messes.
Yes, now they are working with different, not only with IP address, also with other NAT system. So they are seeing now, but we have this problem that we have to change. But there are alternatives. It's not a good alternative, but there are alternatives to get it.
It's not going to happen that all devices will be connected.
There are a lot of, how to say, private network. Imagine that if we have here, I don't know, this table or this microphone connected, not always you need that the information from this microphone goes always to internet. Maybe you could have a private network just to the information, and when you need, you go to a public cloud or maybe private cloud. A good question. How many of you know about quantified cells? About it? Well, quantified cells is also about Internet of Things, but think about thinking in people. How the people are creating new data. Each second, it's munted with different kind of sensor or activities. How many steps we make in a day? How many calories within 1 week? Our heart rate, our brain how to say, a signal. So there is a great movement in the last 2 years. We started seeing 5 or 6 years ago, always in a university, trying to measure how to create better life for people with the data that the people generate. And also, if you think about wearables and Internet of Things, you start to listen about Internet of You. And this is the last video, but I don't destroy it. Now on ground only.
The technology at our fingertips can help us do amazing things.
If I don't need to navigate the world, know which restaurant to book tonight, or know what song to play on the radio. But when it comes to the actual stuff around us, if you're not sure or just don't know, well, you're on your own.
It scans the molecular fingerprint of an object and provides relevant instant information about its chemical makeup.
You can use it to log the chemical fingerprints, record it, and share with your friends.
Which watermelon is sweeter?
What is that avocado butter like? How many calories, carbs, or proteins are in that shake?
How are your parents doing? Imagine if there was a way to know the chemical makeup of everything we come in contact with. The applications are endless. Tiny spectrometer that can be mass-produced at low cost.
And we put in an amazing R&D team. We designed the sensor from the ground up, using low-cost optics and advanced signal processing algorithms.
It took us 3 years and the effort of many talented engineers to create our sensor. We now have a working product and several applications, many more to come.
When you back this project in orderly on silo, you get apps for scanning food, medicine, plants. With these apps, you can begin exploring the world around you. With any app, the more you scan, the more Silo learns about the things you really want to know.
Silo is our latest design.
What is the commercial part? Is when I start the presentation, I will make a question to you if this kind of gadget could be possible. What should be your answer? Yes? You could imagine, no? It's now in production. We told later it gets financed, the financial part of the project with crowdfunding, and they expect to be real at the last of this year. Can you imagine how this kind of gadget are going to change our daily life? But let's talk about the ecosystem. Excuse me for the connection. Okay. I imagine that you are engineers, or you are going to be engineers, so do you know what is an ecosystem? Well, let's continue seeing this mode. Well, an ecosystem, as we know, is different actors or different systems trying to interact one with other in the same environment. Now, when I say minutes ago that now is the moment, why now is the moment? Because now we have an ecosystem around Internet of Things and Internet of Everything. We have different enterprise, or from platform enterprise. Most of these are startups. Most of these start in Indiegogo or Kickstarter. We have different kind of gadgets or devices, from glass to pebble, smartwatches, home-connected gadgets and devices, also industrial. We have different backend logs. So this is the most important reason for me why now is the moment. Okay, the ecosystem. You could read about different ecosystems, about Internet of Things, about everything. For me, the most interesting ecosystem is that piece. Open source, open hardware. What do you know about open source? I'm sure. What do you know about open hardware? You think about this? Yes, only 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm sure 3D printer. You know about 3D printer. Automatization is different, but all these kind of these keys are very. I'm sure that you know about that. Why for me is very important the open source, because with open source system and also with open source right for code, we could reuse a great work for another person. And we can start with, if you want to start a project, you don't want to develop all the part of your project. You can reuse different parts and different building blocks for other teams or person, so you could put focus in the important things or the important parts of your project. And GitHub, how many of you know about GitHub? Okay, I'm great. For me, there are a lot of code repositories, but GitHub, with the social component in the platform, for me, is the most important thing in the last 2-3 years and in the next year that are changing everything, not only Internet of Things. Also Stack Overflow, and there are a lot of repositories, but for me, it's wonderful how the developers are interacting with other developers and scoring. And also, if you want to think about open source, any of you are working in an open source project? Are collaborating in some kind of open source project? No? Well, in the next year, to think about to work, you have to think in what part of the project do you want to work. The bottom part of the project, technology, that part of the project as a developer that use these open source building blocks or libraries, or managing or creating documentation. And for me, this is the great chance things in the last year. When I was in the university, you want to play with hardware. It's so boring. You have to buy different components, read different very boring books where you never find what's the information that you need. The amperes, volts, and now with open hardware, and for me especially, there are a lot of open hardware platforms, but for me, these two are the most important now. What do you know about Arduino and Raspberry Pi? Yes? And the maker community is, as you can see, I am talking about a great ecosystem that is created with a small ecosystem. The Maker Fair is a conference about makers, people who love to create new things alone or with other teams, and collaborating with open source, open hardware, and they are already creating some things. And also, you always think about what kind of new devices, gadget system you could create, but the people, always the engineer, we start to think about the financial part of the project in the last phase of the project. And you have to think in the start, in the beginning of the project. And the crowdfunding platform, what you know, you started, you know what is crowdfunding? Yes? Sure. You have a lot of platforms, and every new day or every week you have a new platform, new crowdfunding platform. But for me, the most important is, as you could imagine, Kickstarter. Also, EBO is a great one. And also don't forget about crowd investment. This platform where you can get money from investors, from different investors, not only from people like Kickstarter. And Kickstarter for me is one of the engine of this change, our Internet of Everything and the new world. Why? Because this kind of system that people like you and me, you know about Perl? Yes. For me, this, as I said, let that people like you and me, students or with your hobby, create new system, new program, new gadget, and trying to make it reality with the help of a lot of people that are interested in your idea, in your invention, or whatever. So, 5 years ago, or when I was in university, I think 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you want to create a new product, a physical product, it was impossible for you. If you don't have a father with a lot of money, or an uncle, or something like that, two fathers, and the fathers of your girlfriends, and it was impossible to you to create or to see that you could create a physical object and to put in the market to real people. You could imagine with a very tiny prototype, and you go to your father and you say, look, my idea, something big, or... But now with crowdfunding in Taskforce, you could get it. And also, the people used to forget about the other 3 topics. Automatization is a very general word, but now on internet, also in the last 15 years, the people are trying to create great artificial intelligence system. But these systems are very difficult, and sometimes we don't get real system or apps with artificial intelligence. But with automatization, you know about this DisneyApp.com? Yes? It's a very easy way, so you try to create intelligence in your day, or in your day, your week, or in your life. Only creating simple rules, as you know. You have a lot of dashboards like Zapier, and there is a war between different automatization systems. And also for me, I love with this new change, 3D printer. As I say, 5-10 years ago, if you want to create something physical, if you want to create a prototype, you need a lot of money to create I don't know how to say mold. To create a mold in plastic mold, you need a lot of money. With 3D printer, you go to a community I think in most, in lots of important cities, are community with 3D printer. Or also you could go to internet to Konoco.com or Setway.com and upload your design. For $15 or $15, you get a real thing, the real thing that you design. And you could think about there are toys, but imagine these toys with an Arduino, a Raspberry Pi, the thing that you could get or you could create. And also there are a lot of 3D printer low cost for home. I think with this printer you can create this tutorial, but now you can buy for 15 euros, 3,000 euros, something like that. And how many of you could imagine this 2 years ago? Yes? Imagine this kind of process. Yes? Oh. I read, I think last week, a a real project like that in China. If you think about connecting things, sensor, 3D printer, crowdfunding, you are changing also the manufacturing process in this century. Well, we talk about automatization, we talk about 3D printer, but one of the most important things about Internet of Everything, Internet of Things is sensor. This is a slide of how many sensors typical car that we could have has inside your wheels, the doors, in the engine, and only one car. But not only for things, only for, as I say, when we talk about quantified self, for human. Sensor like in your smartwatch, or as I say, for your heart rate, or for your skin. And also very important, now you have all kinds of sensors with a low-cost price that if you combine with open hardware, you could create almost anything that you could imagine. This is very important. As I said, 10 years ago, you can do this kind of thing. Well, not only cars or sensor for personal, also for industry. All kind of industry are now with a huge number of sensors. Well, we have only 5 minutes, so let's go quick. Well, mobile. You know about mobile is great. Is more we have a smartphone. We are all days like that, looking, writing. But in Internet of Everything, mobile is the center or the hub to control, to get information from all of your objects around you. To control and to know what is happening. Cloud system, you know about cloud system. Now you could have a server for I think 15, 25 euros working for in the project in a very easy way. Very important. A lot of things and sensors connected and sending information to one point, because that's how we have this information in a lot of sensors, but we can manage it in a global view, in a global point of view. And big data, we are not talking about big data, there are a lot of paths of big data, but for me, the important thing is this pyramid. And now we are in data. We try to get information, or we love to say that we get information from data. We try to go to the knowledge, and when we get in this space, in wisdom, we get the change. Well, if you think about this pyramid for Internet of Things, it's about sensors, software processing, visualization is very, very important, and automatization. Other part is connectivity. We have a lot of protocols, you know, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, 3G, LTE, web, all kind of protocols that make it possible. And this is a slide could you imagine this is a Spanish company from Zaragoza? They are now, the conference and global conference. They are talking about buildings, water, garden, and logistics, and all this part. You have different production projects working around the world. So it's real now. And also to finish, how many of you know what is an API? Can all of you? Good. The APIs is the way so you could interact with your app with a backend, or between backend, or between a system, and also between persons. Imagine if all the person could have an API. But the very important thing of that is that now with APIs, with REST, with HTTP REST, it's very easy to connect, to get information, or to interact with other systems. So this is for me, other very, very important part of this change. Without APIs, it would be impossible to interact with this kind of object information system. And to finish, for me, I'm jealous about you. You have a great opportunity now. Because when I was studying, I don't have this kind of opportunity to create new projects, to try to work for an enterprise, or to try to create what your imagination are telling to you. Why? Because you have, as we say, open source, open hardware, 3D printer, understanding, mobile. It's very easy to create new apps, to create new APIs now. You have all the tools to create it. And you can, years ago, this was impossible that Pebble could be a competitor, for example, of Sony. And now Pebble are a great competitor of Sony and also of Apple with smartwatch. And you now have the opportunity. Why? Because the big enterprises are very, 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 or made very, very small. So you have the opportunity to do very different things or different projects. And that is, do you have any question?
I'm sorry, I have a question. Regardless of this pyramid you were showing, data,
Yes.
information, knowledge, wisdom, can you tell me if it's not a problem for you? You were mentioned a couple of times before, me personally, in my opinion.
Yes.
So what is for you wisdom?
Wisdom for me. Well, we could take a lot of coffee and beer talking about what for me is wisdom.
In a couple of words.
Okay, very difficult. For me, wisdom is that the system or your environment know what you need. What you need in each moment. For
But in that case, am I wise or my environment?
Your environment could be a physical environment. Imagine that when we start this conference, the lights maybe go down, but also my online environment. Why I have to put this mobile in silent mode is my agenda node that I have a event now. I cannot send the calls, for example. And now, with information, I know that I have an event in my agenda. My knowledge,
By my agenda showing me,
yes, I can read it, and I can take an action to put the silence mode.
Okay. And another question, do you think that society, people, all of us, that we are now more wise than 10 years ago?
Wise? Wise? No, I think we
That
are...
wisdom is present on a higher level in 2014 than in 2004.
This is not about the society for me, or what is society, because systems are inside the society. It's more like in systems, in programs. But the answer, I think yes. The society now is more wisdom than 10 years ago. They have a lot more information, more data, more information.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Nothing? Okay.